Welcome back, everybody, to Sip, Read, Repeat. Yes, of course, we are back with Children of Blood and Bone. Last time we were here, Zelie, Princess Amari, and Tzain went to see Mama Agba and show her the scroll. So for the first time in years, Zelie has seen magic. And probably for the first time in her entire life, the princess has also seen magic. So they have both seen magic with their own respective eyes. With that magic being cast, Mama Agba was able to show Tzain, Amari, and Zelie a glimpse of the future, which reveal that they are the ones destined to restore magic. So here we are, chapter 10. And of course, I got my chalice with me. Make sure you stay hydrated. Chapter 10, Zelie. We float to a small inlet across from the northern coast in silence, unable to speak after such horror. Though the crashing waves grow loud, the memory of BC screams crashes even louder in my head. 4 deaths. 4 people who couldn't escape the flames. I brought the fire to Aloran. Their blood stains my hands. I grip my shoulders to keep everything inside as Mama Agba dresses our injuries with cloth ripped from her skirt. Though we made it through the flames, small burns and blisters dot our skin. But that pain is welcome, almost deserved. The sears on my skin are nothing compared to the guilt that scalds my heart. That's a bar. A sharp pressure clamps my stomach as the memory of a burnt corpse crystallizes behind my eyes. Charred skin peeling from every limb, the stench of burning flesh still coloring my every breath. They're in a better place. I try to ease my guilt. If their spirits have ascended to the place of Alethea, death would almost be a gift. But if they suffered too much before they died, I close my eyes and try to swallow the thought. If the trauma of their deaths was too much, their spirits won't rise to the afterlife. They'll stay in Apida, an eternal hell, reliving the worst pain of their life. Reliving the worst of their pain. When we land on the rocky stretch of sand, Tzain helps Amari while I tend to Baba. I promised I wouldn't mess this up. Now, our entire village is in flames. I stare at the jagged rocks, unable to meet my father's eyes. Baba should have sold me to the stocks. If he had, he'd finally have peace. Baba's silence only intensifies my misery, but when he bends down to meet my gaze, tears soften his eyes. You can't run from this, Zelie. Not now. He takes my hands. This is the second time those monsters took our home. Let it be the last. Baba? I can't believe his fury. Since the raid, he hasn't whispered a single curse against the monarchy. I thought he'd given up all his fight. As long as we don't have magic, they will never treat us with respect. They need to know we can hit them back. If they burn our homes, we burn theirs too. Zane's mouth falls open and he locks eyes with me. We haven't seen this man for 11 years. We didn't know he was still alive. Baba, take Nala, he orders. The guards are close. We don't have much time. He points across the shore to the northern coast where 5 figures in royal armor herd the survivors together. The flickering light of the flames illuminates the seal on one soldier's helmet, the captain, the same one who chased me and Amari. He burned my home to the ground. Come with us, Tzain argues. We can't leave you behind. I can't. I'll only slow you down. But Baba, no. He cuts Tzain off, rising to place a hand on his shoulder. Mama Agba told me about her vision. It's you 3 who will lead the fight. You need to get to Chandomble and figure out how to bring magic back. My throat tightens. I clutch Baba's hand. They already found us once. If they're after us, they'll come after you too. We'll be long gone by then, Mama Agba assures me. Who better to evade the guards than a seer? Tzain looks back and forth between Mama Agba and Baba, his jaw clenching as he fights to keep his face even. I don't even know if he can leave Baba behind. Tzain doesn't know his place without keeping others safe. How will we find you? I whisper. Bring magic back for good, Mama Agba says. As long as I have my visions, I'll always know where to go. You have to leave, Baba presses, forceful as a new round of screams rings out. One guard grabs an elderly woman by her hair and holds a sword to her throat. Baba, no! I try to pull him forward, but he overpowers me, kneeling down to wrap his arms around my shaking frame. He holds me tighter than he has in years. Your mother. His voice cracks. A small sob escapes my throat. She loved you fiercely. She would be so proud right now. I cling to Baba so hard that my nails dig into his skin. He squeezes me back before rising to embrace Tzain. Though Tzain towers over Baba in height and might, Baba matches the ferocity of his hug. They hold each other for a long moment, as if they never have to let go. I'm proud of you, son. No matter what, I'll always be proud of you. Tzain hurriedly wipes his tears away. He's not one to show his emotions. He saves his pain for the isolation of night. I love you, Baba whispers to us both. We love you too, I croak. He gestures at Tzain to mount Nala. Amari follows, silent tears leaking onto her cheeks. Despite my grief, a prickle of anger flares. Why is she crying? Once again, her family is the reason mine is being torn apart. Mama Agba kisses my forehead and wraps her arms around me tight. Be careful, but be strong. I sniffle and nod, though I feel everything but strength. I'm scared. Weak. I'm going to let them down. Take care of your sister, Baba reminds Tzain as I mount the saddle. And Nala, be good. Protect them. Nyla licks Baba's face and nuzzles his head, a sign of promise she'll always keep. My chest seizes when she walks forward, traveling away from my heart and my home. When I turn back, Baba's face shines with a rare smile. I pray we'll live to see that smile again. That was a very emotional chapter. It was 4 whole pages, but that was a very emotionally packed chapter. You haven't seen this man in 11 years. Like, your father finally rising to the occasion. To think that the death of his wife caused him to be so meek for so long. And now he's like, no, this fire has burned the embers in my body and lit the flame of the revolution and rebellion. It's time to stand. Chapter 11, Enon. Count to 10, I whisper to myself. Count to 10. Because when I finish counting, this horror shall end. The blood of the innocent will not stain my hands. 1, 2. I grip Father's Senate pawn with a shaking hand, so tight the metal stings. The numbers rise, but nothing changes. Like a Lauren, all my plans are going up in flames. My throat tightens when the village falls in a fiery blaze, taking the homes of hundreds with it. My soldiers drag the corpses through the sand, bodies charred beyond recognition. The shrieks of the living and the injured fill my ears. My tongue tastes nothing but ash. So much waste. Death. This was not my plan. Amari should be in one hand, the diviner thief chained in the other. Kaya should have retrieved the scroll. Only the diviner's hut need have been burned. If I had succeeded in returning the scroll, Father would have understood. He would have thanked me for my discretion, praised my shrewd judgment in sparing Aloran. Our fish trade would be protected. The only threat to the monarchy would be crushed. But I failed. Again. After begging Father for another chance, the scroll is still missing. My sister at risk. An entire village wiped away. Yet I have nothing to show for it. The people of Orisha are not safe. Baba! I grab my blade as a small child hurls his body to the ground. His cries cut through the night. It's only then I discover the sand-covered corpse at his feet. Baba! He grasps at the body, willing it to wake. The blood of his father stains the skin of his small brown hands. Abini! A woman trudges through the wet sand. She gasps at the sight of the approaching guards. Abini, no! You must be quiet. Baba wants you to be quiet. I turn away and squeeze my eyes shut, forcing my bile down. Duty before self. I hear Father's voice. The safety of Orisha before my conscience. But these villagers are Orisha. They're the very people I'm sworn to protect. This is a mess. Admiral Kaya stomps to my side, knuckles bloody from beating the soldier who lit the fire too soon and started the blaze. I fight the urge to walk over and beat him myself as he lies moaning in the wet sand. Get up and bind their wrists, Kaya barks at the guard before lowering her voice again. We don't know if the fugitives are dead or alive. We don't even know if they came back here. We'll have to round up the survivors. I release a frustrated breath. Hope that one of them, my voice trails off as a vile sensation crawls up my skin. Like in the market, the heat prickles my scalp. It pulses as a thin wisp of air floats toward me, a strange turquoise cloud cutting through the black smoke. Do you see that? I ask Kaya. I point, stepping back as the smoke slithers near. The strange cloud carries the scent of the sea, overwhelming the bite of the ash in the air. See what? Kaya asks, but I don't have a chance to respond. The turquoise cloud passes through my fingers. A foreign image of the diviner ignites in my head. The sound around me fades out, turning murky and muddled. The cold sea washes over me as the moonlight and fire fade from above. I see the girl who haunts my thoughts, sinking among the corpses and driftwood, falling into the blackness of the sea. She doesn't fight the current that pulls her down. She relinquishes control, sinking into death. As my vision fades, I return to the screaming villagers and shifting sand. Something stings under my skin, the same bite that started when I last saw the diviner's face. Suddenly, all the pieces come together. The thrashing, the vision. I should have known all along. Magic. My stomach twists and knots. I rake my nails over my tingling arm. I have to get the virus out of me. I need to rip the treacherous sensation from my skin. Enon. Focus. I squeezed Father Senate Pond so hard my knuckles crack. I swore to him I was prepared. But how in the skies could I have prepared for this? Count to 10, I whisper again, gathering all the pieces like pawns. By the time I hiss 5, a terrifying realization hits. The diviner girl has the scroll. The spark I felt when she brushed against me, the electric energy that surged through my veins, and when our eyes locked. Skies. She must have infected me. Nausea churns inside my stomach. Before I can stop myself, this morning's roasted swordfish fights its way up. I double over as vomit burns my throat and hits the sand with a splash. Enon! Kaya wrinkles her nose as I cough, a hint of concern eclipsed by her disgust. She probably thinks me weak, but better that than her discovering the truth. I clench my fist, almost positive I can feel the magic attacking my blood. If Magi can infect us now, they'll defeat us before we have a chance to take them out. She was here. I wiped my mouth in the back of my hand. The diviner with the scroll. We need to locate her before she hurts anyone else. What? Kaya's thin brows crease. How do you know? I open my mouth to explain when the sickening sting erupts under my scalp again. I turn. The prickle grows. It's strongest when I face the southern forest. Though the air stinks of charred flesh and black smoke, I catch the fleeting scent of the sea again. It's her. It has to be, hiding among the trees. Enon, Kaya snaps. What do you mean? How do you know she was here? Magic. My grip tightens around the tarnished pond. My palm itches at the touch. The word feels dirtier than maggot. If I can hardly stomach the idea, how will Kaya react? A villager. I lie. He told me they went south. Where is the villager now? I point blindly at a corpse, but my finger lands on the scorched body of a child. Another turquoise cloud shoots toward me, all rosemary and ash. Before I can run away, the cloud passes through my hand with sickening heat. The world fades out in a wall of flames. Screams bleed into my ears. Help! Enon! I snap back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity. Sorry. A cold tide rushes over my boots. The beach. I squeeze the pond. You're still on the beach. What happened? Kaya asks. You were moaning. I whip around, looking for the girl. She has to be behind this. She's using her wretched magic to fill my head with sounds. Enon, we should interrogate them. I ignore the concern in Kaya's eyes. If one of the villagers knew where they were headed, another might have information too. Kaya hesitates and purses her lips. She probably wants to pry, but her duty as admiral comes first. It always will. We walk over to the surviving villagers. I focus on the tide to ignore their shrieks, but the screaming only grows louder as we draw near. 7, I count in my head. 8, 9. I am the son of Orisha's greatest ruler. I am their future king. Silence! My voice booms into the night with a power that doesn't feel like my own. Even Kaya gave me a surprised glance as the cries quiet into nothingness. We're looking for Zelie Adebola. She has stolen something valuable from the crown. We were told she's heading south, and now we need to know why. I scan the dark faces of those who refuse to meet my eyes, searching for any sign of the truth. Their fear soaks into the air like humidity. It seeps into my skin. Gods, please, if he kills me, in the gods' names, did she steal? My heart slams against my chest as their voices attack and flickers. Broken thoughts that threaten to overwhelm me. More turquoise clouds rise into the air. Like wasps, they dart around me. I start to fall back into the blackness of my mind. Answer him! Thank the skies. Kaya's bark pulls me back. I blink and grip the pommel of my sword. The smooth metal grounds me into reality. With time, their fear fades, but the unnerving sensation remains. I said, answer him, Kaya growls. Do not make me repeat myself. The villagers keep their gazes to the ground. In their silence, Kaya lunges. Screams erupt as she grabs an ugly woman by her gray hair. Kaya drags the moaning woman through the sand. Admiral! My voice chokes when Kaya unsheaths her sword. She places the blade against the woman's wrinkled neck. A single drop of blood falls into the ground. You want to stay silent, Kaya hisses. Stay silent and you die. We don't know anything, a young girl cries out. Everyone on the beach freezes. The girl's hands are trembling. She shoves them into the sand. We can tell you about her brother and father. We can tell you of her skill with the staff, but not a soul in Aloran knows where she's gone or why. I give Kaya a stern look. She drops the woman like a rag doll. I trudge through the wet sand until I reach the girl. Her shaking intensifies as I approach, but I can't tell if it's her fear or the cold of the night tides licking her knees. All she wears is a soaked nightgown, ripped and frayed around her being. What's your name? Standing this close to her, I see how her oak brown skin stands out against the darker chestnut and mahogany views of the villagers. Perhaps there's some nobility in her blood. A father who played in the mud. When she doesn't answer, I bend down, keeping my voice low. The faster you answer, the faster we leave. Yemi, she chokes out. Her hands grip the sand as she speaks. I'll tell you everything you want to know, but only if you leave us alone. I nod. A simple concession. Duty or not, I don't want to see more bodies. I can't bear to hear more screams. I reach down and untie the rope binding her wrist. She flinches at my touch. Give us the information we need, and I promise your people will be safe. Safe? Yemi meets my eyes with the hatred that impales me like a sword. Though her mouth never opens, her voice rings in my skull. Safe ended a long time ago. Chapter 12, Zelie. My eyes ache from hours of silent tears by the time we halt Nyla to rest. It takes all of 5 seconds for her and Tzain to pass out on the moss-covered ground, escaping our fractured reality for the safety of sleep. Amari inspects the ground, shivering in the forest cold. She eventually lays her cloak down and steps on top of it, too regal to grace the earth with her bare head. I stare at her, remembering how close I dragged her to the flames. The memory feels distant now, like someone else held all that hate. Now only cool anger simmers, anger I shouldn't bother feeling. I bet 500 silver pieces she won't last another day. I wrapped myself in my cloak and nestled into Nyla, relishing the sensation of the soft fur against my skin. Through the shadowed leaves, the star-filled sky reignites the magic of Mama Agba's vision in my mind. It's back, I whispered to myself. With the insanity of the day, that fact is still hard to believe. We can reclaim magic. We can thrive again. Oya, I whisper the name of the goddess of life and death, my sister deity who has granted me magic's gift. As a child, I called to her so often you'd think she slept in my cot. But now that I search for the words of a prayer, I don't know what to say. Ba mi soro. I attempt, but it lacks all the conviction and power Mama Agba's chant had. She believed in her connection to Orunmila so much so much so wow, I'm butchering this. So much she could conjure a premonition. Right now, I just want to believe that someone is up there. Ran mi loa, I pray instead. Help me. Those words feel so much realer, so much more like my own. Mama Agba says you've chosen me. Baba agrees, but I'm scared. This is too important. I don't want to screw it up. Saying it out loud makes the fear tangible, a new weight hanging in the air. I couldn't even protect Baba. How am I supposed to save the Magi? But as the fear breathes, I get the smallest sense of comfort. The idea that Oya could be here, right by my side. Gods only know there's no way I can get through this without her. Just help me, I repeat once more. Rami Iowa, please, and keep Baba safe. No matter what happens, just let him and Mama Agba be okay. Not knowing what else to say, I bow my head. Though stiff, I almost feel like I can see my prayers drifting to the sky. I hold on to the brief moment of contentment it grants me, forcing it above the pain, the fear, the grief. I hold it until it cradles me in its arms, rocking me to sleep. When I wake, something feels off, unnatural, not quite right. I rise, expecting to find Nyla's sleeping mass, but she's nowhere to be seen. The forest is gone, no trees, no moss. Instead, I sit in a field of towering reeds, whistling with a burst of wind in the air. What is this? I whisper, confused by the fresh sensation and light. I look down at my hands and jerk my head back. No scars or burns stain my skin. It's as clear as the day I was born. I rise in the endless field of reeds stretching far and wide. Even when I'm on my feet, the stems and leaves grow far above my head. In the distance, the plants are obscured, blurring into white at the horizon. It's as if I wandered in an unfinished painting, trapped inside its canvased reeds. I'm not asleep, yet I'm not awake. I float in a magical world between. Dirt shifts under my feet as I move through the heavenly plants. Minutes seem to stretch into hours, yet I don't mind the time in this haze. The air is cool and crisp, like the mountains of Ibadan, where I grew up. Maybe it's a sanctuary, I think to myself, a gift of rest from the gods. I'm ready to embrace the thought when I sense the presence of another. My heart skips a beat as I turn. All breath seems to cease when realization draws. I recognize the smolder in his amber eyes first, a look I can never forget after today. But now that he's standing still without a sword or surrounded by flames, I take in the curve of his muscles, the bright hue of his copper skin, the strange white streak in his hair. When he's this still, the features he shares with Amari are stark, impossible to miss. He's not just the captain. He's the prince. He stares at me for a long moment, as if I'm a corpse risen from the dead, but then he clenches his fists. Release me from this prison at once. Release you? I arch my brow in confusion. I didn't do this. You expect me to believe that? When I've seen your wretched face in my head all day? He reaches for his sword, but there's nothing there. For the first time, I notice we both wear simple white clothes, vulnerable without our weapons. My face? I ask slowly. Don't feign ignorance, this prince snaps. I felt what you did to me in Lagos, and those voices. End these attacks at once. End them, or you'll pay. His rage stirred with a lethal heat, but the threat is lost as I ponder his words. He thinks I brought him here. He thinks this meeting is by my hand. Impossible. Though I was too young for Mama to teach me the magic of death, I saw it unfold. It came in cold spirits and sharp arrows and twisting shadows, but never in dreams. I didn't even touch the scroll until after we escaped Lagos. After our eyes locked and electric energy tickled my skin. If magic brought us here, it can't be my own. It has to be you. I breathe in amazement. How is this possible? The royal family lost magic generations ago. Magi hasn't touched the throne in years. Me what? My eyes returned to the streak of white in his hair, running from his temple to the nape of his neck. You did this. You brought me here. Every muscle in the prince's body goes rigid. The anger in his eyes transforms to terror. A cold breeze whips between us. The reeds dance in our silence. Liar, he decides. You're just trying to get into my head. No, little prince. It's you who's gotten into mine. Mama's old stories prickle through my memories. Tales of the 10 clans and the different magic each could wield. As a child, all I wanted to learn about were the Reapers like Mama, but she insisted I know just as much about every clan. She always warned me about the connectors, Magi who wielded power over mind, spirit, and dreams. Those are the ones you must watch out for, little Zell. They use magic to break into your head. The memory chills my blood, but the prince is so distraught it's difficult to fear his abilities. With the way he stares at his shaking hands, he looks like he would sooner take his own life than use magic to go after mine. But how is this even happening? Diviners are selected by the gods at birth. The prince wasn't born a diviner, and Poseidon can't develop magic. How has he suddenly become a Magi now? I look at our surroundings, inspecting the work of his connector abilities. The magical reeds twist in the wind, ignorant of the impossibilities blowing all around us. The power required for a feat like this is inconceivable. Even a well-seasoned connector would need an incantation to pull it off. How could he harness the shade in his blood to create this when he didn't even realize he was a Magi? What in the gods' names is going on? My eyes go back to the jagged white streak running through the prince's hair, the only true marker of a Magi. Our hair is always as stark and white as the snow that covers the mountaintops of Ibadan, a marker so dominant, even the blackest dye couldn't hide Magi hair for more than a few hours. Damn. Though I've never seen a streak like his among Magi or diviners, I can't deny its existence. It mirrors the whiteness of my hair all the same. But what does this mean? I look to the skies. What game are the gods playing? What if the prince isn't the only one? If the royals are regaining their magic? No, I can't let fear make me spiral out of control. If royals were getting their magic back, we would already know. I suck in a deep breath, slowing my mind before it can wander further. Amari had the scroll in Lagos. She crashed into her brother when we ran past. Though I don't understand why, it must have happened then. Enon awakened his powers the same way I awakened mine, by touching that damn scroll. And the king has touched the scroll, I remind myself. Amari, probably the admiral too. They didn't awaken any abilities. This magic only resides in him. Does your father know? The prince's eyes flash, giving me the answer I need. Of course not, I smirk. If the king knew, you'd be dead already. Color drains from his face. It's so perfect, I almost laugh. How many diviners have fallen by his hands, been slaughtered, abused, used? How many lives has he taken to destroy the same magic now running through his veins? I'll make you a deal. I walk toward the prince. Leave me alone, and I'll keep your little secret. No one has to know that you're a dirty little The prince lunges. One moment his grip is around my throat, and the next, my eyes fly open. I'm greeted by the familiar sound of crickets and dancing leaves. Zane's snores ring steady and true as Nyla adjusts her body against my side. I jolt forward and grab my staff to fight an enemy that isn't there. Though I scan the trees, it takes a few moments to convince myself the prince won't appear. I breathe the damp air in and out, trying to calm my nerves. I lie back down and close my eyes, but sleep doesn't return easily. I'm not sure it ever will. Now I know the prince's secret. Now he won't stop until I'm dead. But we're going to stop right there, folks. Ooh, that was some good reading right there. You know, as I was reading this chapter, I'm realizing now that this is the first time we've gotten like a full description of Enon. And when she mentioned the white hair, I immediately thought, oh, he must be a diviner. But when it came to the turquoise clouds, I thought that was someone else's magic, like lingering. Maybe Mama Agba's magic, like lingering, and he's just getting like visions of it. But for him to be a Magi himself is interesting. For him to also point out that Yemi probably has royal blood in her is also interesting. There's potential now for him and Yemi to maybe be related. Who knows? But him not being of full royal blood is interesting. Maybe that's not the case, right? Because she did say, Zelie did say that the royals used to have magic. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this story, takes shape, and to see if anyone else in the royal family or the royal army develops or regains their magic. Also curious to know if Amari also has magic, maybe. Because just because it hasn't awakened yet doesn't mean you don't have it, right? Because Zelie hasn't awakened hers yet because she doesn't know how to use it. So it's possible that Amari and maybe anyone else who potentially has magic who's touched this doesn't understand how to use it. Either way, that was still some really good reading right there. Those chapters were amazing. I'm really glad we got to see more interaction between Zelie, Tzain, and their father, and to see that their father really is probably low-key that nigga. Like, I feel like he probably feels he'll slow them down, but I bet you if a fight breaks out now in that village or somewhere in their hometown, he's going to step up big time. I do unfortunately feel the father has huge death flags around him now, right? Because he started off super meek and now he's stepping into his own again as a warrior, it seems. I have a feeling he's going to die. Probably protecting Mama Agba if I were a betting man, but we'll have to wait and see. Tomi, thank you for this book. Well, not that you gifted it to me. Thank you for writing such a masterpiece. I'm really excited to watch this story take shape and come to its climax and see how the three of them bring magic back. I can't wait to see how magic is utilized in battle, right? Because it doesn't seem like every Magi is able to use their magic in an offensive capability. But either way, I'm really looking forward to see what comes next. So tune in next time. Peace.